एक तो ये बोलते रहते हैं एक सही कोलेस्ट्रॉल है और एक ये खराब कोलेस्ट्रॉल है, which confuses me no end because
No, but
unless you're really disciplined and you know a lot about food, how do you actually say that okay आज मैं खाली अच्छी कोलेस्ट्रॉल खाऊंगा? You go to a
I'm so glad you said this because nobody bothers about the fact. I am glad you're bringing this up because there is how can the body have this is like good cholesterol and this is bad cholesterol? That's ridiculous thoughts. And then comes this LDL and HDL. Now one is called bad cholesterol and one is called good cholesterol. How can in a body something is one is bad and one is good?
You talked about mustard oil. Is that an alternative to?
Yes, you see, because our DNA was made up with mustard and sesame, ghee and butter.
Right.
And then we add on the almond milk and the coconut milk, which is very good, but it was never part of our DNA.
Right.
Then we have refined oils, which you should not even think, leave alone touch. Don't even think about refined oils. Throw them away the moment they come.
The eggs that you eat also, because I'm interested in that. Again, there is that whole narrative कि आप पीला मत खाओ and remove the. Do you do that? Do you?
No, I tell you what. You see, the egg story is that egg is only complete with the yellow.
Right.
Because when you eat the white, the problems in the white is that some amount of inflammation will come and many other problems that can come with it. So the whole thing is important. And eggs are, part of our system. I mean, that's why I eat so many eggs and there's nothing wrong with me.
Welcome to Health Matters. I'm Arjun Bhagat, and today I have a very special guest, Dr. Alok Chopra, who is an MBBS and an MD from Maulana Azad Medical College. And of course, he specialized in invasive cardiology and then went on to functional medicine. And he's also a good friend. Thanks for joining me in this conversation. How did you move from invasive cardiology? And first, tell us what is invasive. It's the very word invasive sounds a little negative.
Absolutely. So invasive is always invasive. But of course, there's a limited aspect of it. Someone who's dying of a clot or something. So there are small instances where it is necessary. But by and large, we can control this and by lifestyle changes. So that is why it came to me that I must try to find people who we can manage without any unnecessary intervention.
So, Dr. Alok Chopra, you also run a very prominent and a very famous hospital in Delhi called Aashlok Hospital.
Yes.
How did you start that? I believe you went and did your specialization in England and then came back and set it up way back in 1984.
Yes, you see, at 1984, there was nothing at all. So at least we came up with a, like a sort of a boutique hospital. We have about 35 beds and currently we have all the other things like dialysis and fertility, etc., etc. And it works like a cream. It's not a very big hospital, but the advantage is that because of its natural 35, 40 beds, the way I can help people, I can at least go and talk to my patients once, twice, thrice in a day. Imagine doing that. I mean, other people in big hospitals don't even have a chance to talk.
One has to wait for hours or days.
Yeah. So I think that this advantage to the patients is very large.
Right. So, let's talk about cholesterol. That's an aspect that you are very passionate about. That is something that you want to talk about. And there is a lot of confusion कि cholesterol अच्छी चीज़ है, बुरी चीज़ है, आपका दोस्त है, आपका दुश्मन है. Tell us a little bit of cholesterol.
Yeah. So that is always I said, is it a friend or a foe? Now, first of all, if God gives you something in your body, what would you do to it? Throw it away? Obviously not. So there are two things that are bothering me all the time and which are the primary causes for so many chronic illnesses. Number one is that cholesterol is made in your body and nobody knows that. I ask my patient, where does cholesterol come from? The food. No, not true at all. 85% of the cholesterol is made in our body. How can it be bad? How can anything be made by God in our body?
So cholesterol, you're saying 85% is produced by the body, and 15% is from other sources of what?
Food sources.
Food
sources. That's the thing. Same goes for acid. You see, I'm bringing in acid because they have the same problems. That we know that everybody in the world is now on those antacids or those, all those acid blockers. And we think that the acid was again made by our body for again those 10, 15 reasons. And by blocking the acid, We are really killing ourselves. I recently, a guy came to me and I said, "What's your problem, sir?" Acidity. क्या खाते हो? पैंटोसिड. कब से खा रहे हो? 8 साल से. एसिडिटी ठीक हुई नहीं तो फिर गधे हो. क्या समझो, अगर नहीं हुई तो कुछ कहते पर हमको तो हो रही है एसिडिटी. मैंने कहा एसिड तो आपकी बंद होगी, आपकी एल्कलिनिटी हो रही है. तो समझो, इट इज मच वर्स देन एसिडिटी.
And that's what functional medicine does, right? You're basically looking at conditions that we have in the body from a holistic perspective.
Yeah.
All right. So let's come back to cholesterol.
Yeah.
What does cholesterol do for the body? Cholesterol क्या करता है?
You see, as I told you, that cholesterol, when we first came around, the figures for cholesterol was 350 to 360. And that's what we were.
That's the level we are talking about. So
Yeah.
350, 60 was normal, on
Was
the higher side.
Absolutely was supposed to be the normal range of cholesterol. And that's what we were taught. Slowly and slowly, the powers maybe, I don't want to talk about that, brought this down till 100, and now it's said that 60 or 70 is the right.
On the upper side.
No. They brought the figure down to 60 and 70,
Right.
where it should have been 300.
Right.
I mean, my cholesterol is 325. And people think, I said, I'm still alive, man. I've been doing this for 10 years. I haven't gone anywhere. So this is the point, that the whole story from the powers that be.
So when you can't say it, but I can say it. The levels of medicine as well as our symptoms are defined by the Food and Drug Administration of the United States.
Yeah.
So my question to you is twofold. Number one, it's a different population. They have very different food habits. Why should we as Indians use that parameter? Why should the Indian Medical Association, impose that on the Indian population? Do we have our own, the different levels, or?
Well, you see, we don't have a body like the US has, but at least now, because a lot of us who are now in the functional medicine zone are pushing this to the right extent to tell what is the right vegetables, what is the right cooking media, and slowly we are managing a situation where we are converting this back into what we should do. It's not just, we could borrow something from the West, which is good, but we are also siding the part that we need to understand our problem.
So coming back to the question, what does cholesterol do? And that's before we get into what LDL is, what HDL is. So what does cholesterol do for the body? क्या करता है?
See, cholesterol has about 10 or 15 jobs to do. First is the structural integrity of our cells, because the cells are very loose, not very big. So it covers the surface of it so that it can withstand the power of the blood pressure, so that it needs it. The second is it's a very, what we call, vital brain matter. Now, each nerve is managed by something called myelin. You may have heard of it.
Right.
And the myelin protects you. It keeps you non-inflamed. It also helps in pushing through the whole thing. That is one of the important things. Then we call it the necessary product in the body. If something is made in our body, it is necessary, right? So when something goes wrong, the cholesterol goes up. When something goes right, it comes down. So it's, as you understand, it's so fully involved in the metabolism of our body. Then there's another thing called lipid lifesavers. Literally, cholesterol makes a little raft type of thing. It carries whatever needs to be carried to the point where it's needed. Immune health. Now, immunity is completely controlled by cholesterol, because everything that happens within our, some infection, the problem and all that, is the cholesterol which pushes patches their wounds and starts like that. Endocrine systems. All our endocrine organs, whether it is, any male or female hormones, the crux of those hormones are made from cholesterol. It's just ridiculous that everything is just coming up like that. Liver and gallbladder. In gallbladder, the bile is made in cholesterol. So is this also because if it wasn't for cholesterol, you wouldn't be able to have possible digestion. Then also, the blood levels of cholesterol vary from time to time. That means if the cholesterol is high, it will bring it down. If it is low, it will take it up. Which tries to tell us that it is so intricately involved in our metabolism. If there is a winter, it will come down, go up. If it's summer, it will come down. So it tells you that it is such an integral part of your program. And when we find that the cholesterol is low, and we have found people with people who have, are miserable, people who are murderers. And we find that there's a lot of problems.
Murderers.
Murderers. So those are one of those dangers. And the other thing is the wrong interpretation. The wrong interpretation which comes from HDL and HDL. And
Yeah, so let's talk about that. I mean, I'll list them out. When we get a blood report,
Yeah.
it's like categorized into LDL, HDL, triglycerides. Now, what are these three categories, and what is their relationship to the heart? Because they say if your cholesterol goes up, or if the bad cholesterol, एक तो ये बोलते रहते हैं एक सही cholesterol है और एक ये खराब cholesterol है, which confuses me no end, because
No, but
unless you're really disciplined and you know a lot about food, how do you actually say that, okay, आज मैं खाली अच्छी cholesterol खाऊंगा? You go to a
I'm so glad you said this, because nobody bothers about the fact. I am glad you're bringing this up, because there is how can the body have this is right good cholesterol and this is bad cholesterol? That's ridiculous thoughts. And then comes this LDL and HDL. Now one is called bad cholesterol and one is called good cholesterol. How can in a body something is one is bad and one is good? So how we accepted it, I don't know. But the fact is that LDL.
we accepted it because of doctors like you. Let me put you on the spot there.
That's how we were taught.
Yeah,
we were blindly accepting what big pharma said, but now it's not true. So what happens is that LDL and HDL are actually carriers. I'm making it a little easier.
No, yeah, see, for our audience, we need it as simple as you can, tell us.
No, they are very important for our life, but just to make it easy, LDL and HDL are like taxis. And this taxi is carrying a passenger called cholesterol. Now, if it was not for LDL, the cholesterol would not be able to do all those many jobs that I talked about. Why are we calling it bad? And HDL brings the unused cholesterol back to the liver for rejuvenation, and so they're all connected. So LDL is doing its job, HDL is doing its own job. So we can't call it good or bad. They're all part of the same game. It's like saying that, I'm doing one job here and I'm doing another job there. So let's get rid of the fact that there is anything bad or good about it. It is only good. Because were it not for these two guys, we wouldn't be able to control where we can send cholesterol to all its wonderful jobs to do.
Right. So basically, again, it's about the holistic nature of our bodies. 85% of the cholesterol you said is produced by the body itself. I mean, that's an information that I didn't know. I thought it was because the way the narrative is, जो हम लोग पढ़ते हैं, जो सुनते हैं, जो डॉक्टर बताते हैं हमें कि अगर आप ये खा रहे हो तो इससे ये हो रहा है और आपका कोलेस्ट्रॉल बढ़ रहा है. My cholesterol kind of ranges between 140 and 160, and
it's not bad, but I wish it was double.
No, I became a vegetarian, and I saw that my cholesterol kind of came down. But that's another question I wanted to ask you. So when I got these blood tests done, and my doctor, and at that point of time I was in the US, which is a couple of years back. So the doctor was saying, all right, you have very high cholesterol. He's an American doctor in the US. You need to go into statins. And I'm told a lot of people are pushed into statins. And once you are onto statins, again, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's very difficult to get out of that, that rhythm.
Yes.
Or at least that's what we are told.
Yeah. You see, first, let me tell you what statins are. Actually, statins are not rose as we have now made it to be. Statins are actually anti-inflammatory drugs. They reduce the inflammation in your arteries. So they're doing a job.
Right.
So it is important that until the inflammation in your body settles down, we may need the statins to remove the inflammation. But once the job is done, you go away.
Right.
See, what is happening here is that people are taking statins for years. It's like saying that you have one glass of red wine or you have one bottle of red wine. I mean, if you continue to have one bottle of red wine, then you're gone. Similarly, there's a time period which may be 3 weeks, maybe 3 months, or maybe somewhere in between where the job of the statins is done, and then please say goodbye. Because when the statins continue, then you start getting muscle pain, muscle breakdown, bone breakdown, dementia, Alzheimer's, all of that stuff. I mean, nothing wrong with that. But if you overuse it, wrongly use it, statins are going to knock you off. So now what has happened is that the powers that may be are now saying that, okay, cholesterol is bad. And the only way the cholesterol can be not bad is to use of statins. So the statin job is to remove the cholesterol from the, so therefore they are taking the cholesterol away. So it's become an issue that once you remove the cholesterol by the statins, you're going to be better and not sick. So this is the misnomer that has been created.
And you told us just short while back that cholesterol has a huge role to play in terms of immunity.
Yeah.
Right. And so if statins are excessive, then they will take away that immunity from the body.
Absolutely. And then you see what happens is, let's say you have a plaque. You understand the plaque?
Yeah.
So when you get a plaque, and the plaque comes from inflammation, in a little while I will tell you what are the reasons for inflammation. You get an inflammation and you make a plaque. One nice guy comes and puts a band-aid over that plaque. Who is that nice guy? Cholesterol.
Right.
But you carry on doing the nonsense. So another plaque, cholesterol, another plaque, cholesterol, till such time that the artery becomes blocked. Someone has a heart attack, someone dies. We do a post-mortem, we open the vessel, and we'll say, cholesterol, here's the guy. Here's the rogue who's caused the problem. So it is very easy for people, whoever are running this show, to create the fact that it was the cholesterol which caused. Statins are also trying to, keep the cholesterol at some level, because we don't want it clogging. Although the cholesterol clogging the arteries are helping you, it's preventing any problems. But at some level, it's clogging it also. So there's a little job where the statins are working to reduce it at one particular point of time. So as I said, I'm not a complete something against it, against these statins, but there's a time where we need to do it, and when
there's a certain balance.
Yeah, we have to create that balance.
So it can't be just once you take it, you have to go on. And I've heard of people and some friends, older friends, who are saying, "Oh, we've been on it now for 15 years or 10 years or 12 years." And that sounds really bizarre to me. But yeah, I'm glad you've clarified.
I always tell them, "Hey, you're not dead yet."
I don't think I can ask them that question. But coming back to, you talked about inflammation.
Yeah.
Inflammation of the arteries, is that correct? Or
see, inflammation.
What is this, and what damage does it do to the body?
See, inflammation by definition, I mean, by and large, everybody knows. But what are the causes of inflammation? Commonly, causes are, using high glycemic foods, refined oils, refined foods, margarines, oils which are not good for us, all those other things. These are the primary causes. Then we have allergies, we have intolerances, we have sensitivities, all those things have to be understood. Then we have some gut issues, issues from, where the bugs are sitting inside your body. Also, where are you getting your food from? Are you eating packaged food, processed food, foods which are coming from transported areas? Then you have other gut issues which are causing the problem. Inflammation caused from toxins, from radiation, all those things. These 7-8 items, up to 10 items,
from our environment.
Yeah, everything are being, or even low grade inflammations or low grade infections which you're not aware of. So all those things put together are the causes of inflammation, and these are these causes which are causing the plaque and all those things. Nothing to do with cholesterol. Cholesterol is only doing his job to save you. But everybody has turned it around. That cholesterol is the cause for all those 7 times.
So when you talked about certain foods that build that plaque or plaque. Plaque, is it?
Yeah, plaque.
So that build that plaque. So you talked about refined oils, and that is something one is increasingly hearing, that the kind of oils you eat, and I guess that kind of accumulates because you are having oil pretty much in every dish of yours. I mean, at least for lunch, dinner, at least Indian diet.
It's a look.
Tadka marenge, ye karenge, you'll put a little bit of oil in it. How do you actually, from a practical perspective, avoid that from an Indian context?
You see, our DNA was brought up with mustard oil and sesame oil, ghee and butter, right? And we lived it well because it was the right ghee, the right butter. Today, the whole dairy component is over. Today dairy is not the same dairy as it was.
Right.
So therefore, I am a great I'm pushing the fact that dairy should go away forever. And that is a big controversy. The dairy that was of past was good. Today's dairy is the coming from the A1, cow, and it's the other type of dairy which is not good for us. And when we have an alternative, we have nut milks, we have milks coming from vegetables and things like that. We can make the dairy from there, and it is the same. The power of that is much bigger, and it's much tastier.
But then everybody will say, "We swad nahi aa rahe hai."
But but I know it's a very big turn, and I don't want to enter that controversy. But I'm quietly getting into the fact that dairy must go away. Someone will wring my neck for it. What do you mean? The dairy was never meant for us. Dairy was meant for bacharas. We are not bacharas. And once the bacharas have done their, this thing is gone. It should be over. But it's so much in our DNA, so much in our. But the reason is that dairy is not today's dairy. If it were, then I would let it be. But now, when we have the results of milk, of plant milks and nut milks, they're much more powerful, man. Fine.
Right. So, coming back to the oil question, you talked about mustard oil. Is that an alternative to?
Yes, you see, because our DNA was made up with mustard and sesame, ghee and butter.
Right.
And then we add on the almond milk and the coconut milk, which is very good, but it was never part of our DNA.
Right.
Then we have refined oils, which you should not even think, leave alone touch. Don't even think about refined oils. Throw them away the moment they come.
It's like very interesting you say this because I know someone really well, and he works in one of the largest companies that produce oil, refined oil. And so you were having a discussion, and I just casually asked, I said, "What do you use?" He said, "Well, I never use refined oil because it's the worst thing you can do to your body." So he said, because we mix it with so many different oils. That we don't even know at the end of it what the composition is. But
in fact, today
because you have to mass produce it, you have to give it to a population of 140 crore.
Today, I in fact got a call from someone who wanted to talk about this, and he kept pushing me that, can we not oil a little bit of this? Is a factor. I said, no, don't even discuss it with me. Anyway, the third part is the olive oil. Olive oil. Now, olive oil is a great oil. Okay. Again, despite being very great, it was never part of our DNA, India DNA, but of course, nothing wrong. This is a perfect oil. It's a very powerful oil. But again, what people are doing in the cooking, overcooking.
So that's all they say. You're not supposed to overcook. It's supposed to be garnished with.
Absolutely. Even now it goes up to about 40 degrees centigrade, it's gone. And it's not going to tell you it's gone. It's already denatured. That's terrible because we don't know where it is gone.
So you're saying that use olive oil if you can. It's of course very expensive and not very accessible to maybe 98% of the families in India. But if you are able to use it, then don't heat the oil to that degree, right?
Yeah, and you make sure there's an extra virgin cold pressed also, because that is also very important.
Yeah, you've got a lot of.
And now there's other thing, oil that is coming into the market from the most junkest oil from Italy is called that pomace olive oil.
Yes.
Pomace olive oil is 85% refined junk, by the way.
Right.
And everybody's cooking. Everybody's frying.
Most of the restaurants are probably.
No, Lucas, it's not their fault. That's what the guys have been telling us, that this is the only oil that you can use for.
So let's talk about dietary sources of cholesterol, and what are those dietary sources and what do we need to be aware of?
You see, dietary sources from the Indian point of view is ghee, butter, as we talked about.
Right.
But otherwise, if you go back, you have things like butter, you have lard, you have cod liver oil. But again, it's not meant for vegetarians,
Right.
So things like that, lard and butter, eggs. And the vegetarian will say, what about us? The truth is that majority of it, that's just why, sorry to say, vegetarians have been more susceptible to chronic metabolic illnesses. And vegans are.
So one of our friends became a vegan, but Felice is now.
Vegans,
I wonder why I eat eggs because, I also play a lot of sports. I play tennis, and in between I'd stopped eating eggs, and I could actually feel, I was getting tired. I was getting exhausted.
You know how many eggs I eat a day? Minimum 8 and plus 4.
Plus you eat 8 eggs a day.
8 eggs a day. 4 or 6 I eat in any case. another 2 here, there, and another 3 or 4 in my rotis. By the way, I make rotis which are 0 carb rotis. And I think I should get the Nobel Prize for it because I've used it.
But how do you do that?
I will tell you. I have used it in all my diabetic patients. And because, I tell them, listen, you can't have roti, you can't have bread. They said, go to hell. So I said, yes, rather than going to hell, let me formulate a new roti. And if you want, I'll tell you the ingredients.
Oh, please do.
So I picked up 4 flours, almond flour. I mean, again, the price part away. Almond flour, coconut flour, kathal flour.
Acha, kathal flour.
Kathal flour, and
You get that?
yeah, yes, I put it all across the market. And also raw green banana peel flour.
Acha.
So you put it together, keep it aside. Take some Greek yogurt. Now, Greek yogurt is not really a yogurt.
Right.
We all know that. So Greek yogurt is like a hung curd. It's like hung curd. If you get the right Greek yogurt, which is not additives, no sweeteners, no nothing, I used to use that to soften that flour. Kept it aside. Then I took some sabji, some nuts, some seeds, and some raw unsweetened cocoa.
Unsweetened cocoa as well.
Unsweetened cocoa, and I put it all together and mixed up the two of things. Put some chutney, some achar, some wonderful ghee. Put it together, and you have the best roti in the world with no carbs. And then I use the same ingredients and make people buy a bread maker. Put the whole ingredients there. Add some soda bicarb, add some fermented food, and you got bread. So now for the last 7 years, I've been using this roti and bread with 0 carbs. Now, someone says, but you do need carbs. Yes, you do need carbs. But carbs are present in everywhere. It's found in dal, it's found in leaf, everywhere. I mean, it's not, a real carb as in carbs, but it's enough. I mean, I've been doing this for now nearly 7-8 years.
Wow. So talk to me about the eggs that you eat also, because, I'm interested in that. Again, there is that whole narrative ke aap peela mat khao and remove the. Do you do that? Do you?
No, I tell you what. You see, the egg story is that egg is only complete with the yellow. Right. Because when you eat the white, the problems in the white is that some amount of inflammation will come and many other problems that can come with it. So the whole thing is important. And eggs are, part of our system. I mean, that's why I eat so many eggs, and there's nothing wrong with me.
Because you're looking quite fit and you're looking better by the day. So that gives me hope that, eating more than 2 eggs would be.
I've convinced a lot of vegetarians and vegans into creating, eating eggs at least, and a large number have agreed to do that because I explained to them what importance it is. It is one of the top. If I have to have, what are the top 5 foods in the world? Eggs come in the number 2, number 3 category.
So let's talk about. I mean, just tell us.
But I did
the 5 foods.
Sorry to interrupt. The best way to do the egg is not to pan fry it.
Right.
Because when you pan fry it, a lot of nonsense happens within it. So therefore, soft boiled, hard boiled, poached, and that also in water. So if you have a tall glass, put a teaspoon of white says something, and just put it in and drop it in, and you get the best poached egg.
Yeah, you can put vinegar. And
maybe white vinegar is better. White vinegar is better.
Right. So what are the top 5 foods in the world? If not the top 5, but the most important.
Well, I'll tell you how I start my meal. I start my meal with a bullet coffee. You know what that is? A bullet coffee is with and with a soup. No, not espresso. It's a normal good coffee where I put a little bit of MCT oil, which is derived from coconut oil, and I put some cinnamon, a little bit of this here and there to create some
taste, some more tasty.
Haldi, a little bit of haldi.
You put haldi, and I'm pretty sure you don't put any milk in it because we just talked about that.
Yeah, so therefore that's how we start.
So you have black coffee.
Yeah,
with this haldi डाल दिया आपने, थोड़ा सा उसमें oil डाल.
Another nice wholesome soup, whether it's a tomato soup or
almond bone.
I start my first meal with this. And then following that comes because my first meal is my biggest meal, and I'll tell you the reason why.
Right.
The first meal is my biggest meal, and my last meal is my smallest meal, and I have never eaten more than twice in a day. And once.
So you'll eat in the morning, and then you'll eat maybe early evening.
Yeah. And the interval is around 6 to 8 hours.
So you don't feel exhausted or tired?
No, there is this word called tiredness has never entered my this thing. I'm always on the move without any trouble. And the reason for that is that I have a very large time where I'm allowing my body to recover, rest, rejuvenation, and repair. Post sleep, there are about 15 jobs that our body is doing, and we should allow it to happen. So this comes to another interesting question called the body clock.
Right.
We've heard of the body clock.
Of course.
Now, the body clock and our ancestral past are joined together. Why is it important? A lot of my patients said, why the hell are you talking about the ancestral past 2000 years back? I said, because that 2000 years back, DNA is still in our cells.
Right.
The same bloody DNA.
And in terms of evolution, 2000 years is nothing.
Nothing. So your DNA, my DNA is the same. So we are still stuck with it. So one of the things is that, now this is a very important thing. Somehow or the other, the Lord made a situation that every time those ancestors ate, they would store fat and reduce fat burning. He said, what the hell for? Each time we eat, we are storing fat. The point is, those times when food was scarce, it was imperative. But this is now still in our DNA. But they used to eat around the clock, whatever they could do. But today, instead of eating 6-7 times a day, as we have been advised by the powers that be.
Yeah, so these fads keep happening, right?
No, I'll tell you why. The powers that be have told us that you must eat every 3 hours. Now, what they've done is that every time we eat, we are storing fat and reduce fat burning.
Right.
And as a result, we get sick. When you get more sick, you have more medicines. When you have more medicines, more money. You see? So the only way to get out of the mess is that your mantra should be, don't eat less. Eat to satisfaction. Eat less often. So I can't change that because it's in our DNA. So if I eat 8 times a day, we're going to get screwed 8 times a day. If I eat twice a day, that means 70% of my problem is already solved by eating twice a day. You understand?
But doctor, on a more personal note, I've been to your house a couple of times and we've had some sumptuous dinners with amazing variety of foods, and your wife also makes some amazing ice cream.
Yeah. No, let's call it gelato. Ice cream is frozen gelato. Yes. Ice cream is frozen dessert.
Yes.
No, but that is, you see, I am not cutting corners on what I'm eating. I'm eating the best foods, but twice a day.
Right.
That's very important.
So, wrapping this brilliant interview up, in a nutshell, what advice would you give to?
First advice is to live by our body clock, and I want to tell you about it. Our body clock will not change whether you stand on your head. It wakes you up. Now, this is going to be tough, but I have been doing this now for a while. The body clock wakes us up at 5:15, and it wants you to boom, no dilly-dallying in bed, right up to box, go right down and expose yourself to the wet muddy grass.
Really?
Now, wet muddy grass will give you, the Mother Earth has a lot of pull. So it pulls out all your ingredients, your bad ingredients back again. That time, there is a blue light, right? The blue light is invisible, by the way. You imagine there is a blue light. The blue light is coming in and converting your night chemicals, your night hormones, your night mechanisms into the morning ones. Very crucial change. You missed the first bus already. Then it wants you to see that blue light. Soon the blue light is replaced by the yellow sun. When the yellow sun comes, open your chest up and allow the sun, imbibe the sun in. Those infrared rays of that time is actually life-changing. So once you imbibe with the sun, I added my 2 penny bits that now that we are sitting and hanging around the sun, might as well do some prayer and pranayam and go to your job peacefully. The body clock then warns you to have a aerobic exercise. So in sequence, wake up, blue light, yellow light, prayer, pranayam, aerobic. After that, the body clock wants you to eat after 5.5 hours of waking. So if I'm waking up at 5:30 to 10:30 is the best time for having your first big meal. Now for me, 10:30 is a very busy time.
Right.
So what I have done is a little naughty thing, that in my appointment book, there is one Mr. S.K. Khanna. There is no S.K. Khanna. I am eating at
So Mr. Khanna is meeting you every day in the word
Khanna.
That's okay.
So anyway, you carry on. And as you carry on, as time comes around the afternoon at about 2:30, where you are obliged to have a nap. 5 minutes to sleep, 5 minutes to wake up. And then you get a theta rhythm sleep, which gives you a very powerful sleep when you wake up. And you wake up with great energy and problem solved already. And with it, if you can add some binaural beats. Have you heard of binaural beats?
So
Please Google it and
I know binaural.
beats, BINAURAL. You put them on, it enhances the value of the theta rhythm.
Okay.
And that time you wake up and you're ready to go.
So you should hear it in the morning when you get up.
No. In that 2:30 baje
That's a 2:30 baje, when you kind of
when I'm taking the
feeling
nap, this nap is not a great nap in the sense that it is a very nice nap. It's a theta rhythm sleep. And if I call you, hey, you'll say, shh, keep quiet, I'm sleeping. So that opens up, and when you get out of that, you get a huge amount of energy. Use that energy from 3:34 till your next time. Put your mind and your body into your work at that time. Again, it's a good time for doing that. And around 6:30 or so, our body clock wants to do strength training. That's the time. You may not like it, but that's the time from the body clock to do strength training. And after that, आप घर गए, मिसेस को मिला, बच्चों को मिले, गपशप मारी, 7:30 बजे खाना खाया, 10 बजे सो गए. Yeah, I mean, supposing
I think, these are ideas that we have to.
Yeah, but you see, supposing you call me for dinner in the evening,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say, ji, मैं तो खा गया हूँ जी. So you'll say, go to hell, yeah. I mean, we're eating for being together. So I will come. You serve me dinner at 11, I'll come and have. But the next day I will do a 24-hour fast.
Oh, you will.
Wait, I do that in any case. Once in 10 days I do it, and once in 3 months I do a 3-day water fast.
What do you mean 3-day water fast?
Only water. Water means water means dhania pani, meetha pani, nimbu pani, all liquids.
Well, we've had a great conversation, and thank you so much for joining me. It's very, very important, the conversation that we've had about cholesterol, and as Dr. Alok Chopra has said, that you really need to balance out your life. Don't get carried away by certain narratives which are there. Cholesterol is produced by the body. 85% of it is generated by the body, और खाली 15% बाहर से आता है. But you have to eat the right foods. You have to have the right rhythms for your body to eat, to sleep, so that you remain healthy and therefore wise. Thank you so much for joining me on Health Mantra, on Health Matters, and we'll see you again with another very enlightening episode.
ऐसी ही दिलचस्प और महत्वपूर्ण हेल्थ इश्यूज के बारे में जानकारी प्राप्त करने के लिए देखते रहिए हेल्थ मंत्रा.